The ocean stretched out like a giant blue blanket. As far as eyes could see, there was only water. The sun shone down from a clear sky, making tiny sparkles dance on the water. The waves whispered soft songs, rolling gently up and down. It was a peaceful day on the big wide sea. Everything seemed calm and quiet. But wait, what was that sound? A tiny sound carried by the breeze. It was a small sound, a little bit sad, a little bit scared. It was not the sound of the sea or the wind. It was something different, something new. The waves seemed to listen. The wind held its breath for a moment. The sound came again, fainter this time, then a little stronger. It was a tiny bark, like a puppy might make, lost and alone in the vastness of the blue. Who could be making such a sound? Out here, in the middle of nowhere? There were no ships in sight, no islands nearby, only the endless water and the endless sky. The sun continued to shine, the sparkles continued to dance, but now the peaceful scene held a little mystery, a little worry. The tiny bark floated over the waves. It was a call for help, a small voice in a very big world. The ocean itself seemed to wonder. The sound was there, a persistent, hopeful little yelp. It mixed with the gentle lapping of the water. It told a story of something lost, something that needed to find its way. The big blue ocean held many secrets, and this tiny bark was a new one, waiting to be discovered. The tiny bark came from a little dog named Barnaby. He was a small dog with fluffy brown fur and big scared eyes. Poor Barnaby was all alone, paddling his little legs very hard, trying to stay above the water. His ship was gone. A big storm had come in the night. The ship had tossed and turned, then with a loud crack it broke. Barnaby had fallen into the cold, dark water. Now the sun was up, but Barnaby was still in the water. He was very tired. His little legs ached. He whimpered softly. He missed his warm bed on the ship. He missed his kind human friends. He looked around. All he could see was water. Blue water everywhere. He was just a tiny speck. A tiny, shivering dog in a giant ocean.
Woof, help!
But only the waves answered, with their soft splashes. Barnaby was a brave little dog, but he was also very scared. He had never been so alone. He thought of his favorite toy, a red rubber ball. He thought of chasing butterflies in the garden. Happy thoughts. But then, a big wave splashed over his head. He coughed and spluttered. The salty water stung his eyes. He paddled harder. He had to keep trying. He could not give up. Not yet. He remembered his human friend, Lily. She always told him he was a good boy, a brave boy. He tried to be brave now. For Lily, he paddled and paddled. He barked and barked, hoping someone, anyone, would hear him. The sun climbed higher in the sky. It grew warmer. But Barnaby was getting colder, and so very, very tired. His barks became weaker, his little body shivered. He needed help soon. Deep beneath the waves, someone else was swimming. It was Delphi, a young dolphin. Delphi was sleek and silver, with a friendly smile and bright, intelligent eyes. She loved to play in the ocean, leaping out of the water and chasing the sparkling fish. The ocean was her home, her playground. She knew all its secrets, or so she thought. Today, she heard something new. Delphi was swimming near the surface, enjoying the warm sunshine on her back. Then she heard it. A faint sound, a sad sound. She tilted her head, listening carefully. It was not a seagull. It was not another dolphin. It was different. Curious, Delphi swam closer to the sound. She poked her smooth head out of the water. Her dark eyes scanned the surface. What could it be? She listened again.
Woof, woof.
Then Delphi saw him. A tiny brown furball bobbing up and down in the waves. It was Barnaby. Delphi had never seen a dog before. Not this close. Not in the middle of her ocean. She saw his little legs paddling. She saw his tired face. Her kind dolphin heart felt a pang of sympathy. He looked so small, so helpless. He looked like he needed a friend. Delphi chirped softly, a gentle sound of greeting. Barnaby heard the chirp. He was so tired he thought he was dreaming. He slowly opened his eyes. He saw a smooth gray head. Two kind eyes looked at him. It was a dolphin. Barnaby had seen pictures of dolphins in books, but he never thought he would meet one, especially not like this. He was too tired to bark. He just looked at the dolphin. A tiny bit of hope flickered in his heart. Maybe this was help. Delphi knew she had to help. The little dog looked so weak. She swam closer to Barnaby, very gently. She did not want to scare him. She made soft clicking sounds, friendly sounds.
Hello, I am here, I will help you.
Barnaby was too exhausted to be afraid. He just watched her with his big, weary eyes. He let out a tiny whimper. It was a sound of trust. Delphi carefully nudged Barnaby with her smooth nose. She wanted him to hold on. She tried to guide him, but Barnaby was too small. He kept slipping off her back. Delphi thought for a moment. Then she had an idea. She dived down quickly. She found a piece of flat, light wood floating from the shipwreck. It was just big enough for Barnaby. She pushed it towards him with her snout.
Here, climb on this.
Barnaby understood. With the last of his strength, he scrambled onto the piece of wood. It was like a tiny raft. He was out of the cold water. He lay down, shivering, but he was safe for now. Delphi stayed close. She swam beside the little raft. She pushed it gently with her head. She made sure it did not tip over. Barnaby looked at her. He tried to wag his tail. It was just a little twitch, but Delphi understood. Thank you, it meant. So began their journey. The dolphin and the dog, an unlikely pair, floating on the big blue sea. Delphi pushed the raft steadily. Barnaby rested. The sun warmed his fur. He felt a little stronger. He watched Delphi swim. She was so graceful, so strong. She would sometimes leap out of the water, a silver flash in the sunlight. Barnaby would give a weak bark of delight. A new friendship was starting, in the middle of the vast ocean. Delphi showed Barnaby the wonders of her world. She brought the wonders to him.
Look, Barnaby, a beautiful shell.
She nudged colorful shells onto his raft, shells that whispered ocean secrets. Barnaby had never seen such beauty.
Wow, these are amazing.
He sniffed them curiously. He wagged his tail with each new treasure.
And see those flying fish? Watch them leap out of the water.
Delphi pointed to flying fish. They leaped, fins like tiny wings. They shimmered in the sunlight. Barnaby watched with wide eyes. He had never imagined such creatures.
Woof.
He barked softly, amazed. Delphi clicked and whistled in reply. It was their special language, a language of shared adventure. Their hearts spoke.
Look, Barnaby, friendly sea turtles.
Sometimes sea turtles swam by. They had wise faces. They nodded slowly.
What an unusual sight.
Barnaby felt like he was in a dream. He was no longer scared. He felt safe with Delphi. She was his guide, his friend. The ocean was full of life, full of magic.
I love showing you my home, Barnaby. Your happy reactions make me happy too.
Delphi loved showing Barnaby her home. This was different. This friendship was special. She learned from Barnaby too. Their hearts were the same. Their peaceful journey continued for some time. The sun shone. The sea was calm. Barnaby was getting stronger every day. He could even sit up on his raft. He would bark happily at Delphi.
Woof, woof.
But one afternoon, the sky began to change. The bright blue faded to a dull gray. Dark clouds gathered on the horizon. They looked like big, angry monsters. The wind started to pick up. It whistled a warning.
Delphi looked worried. She knew the signs. A storm was coming, a big one.
The waves started to grow bigger. They crashed against Barnaby's little raft, splashing cold water over him. Barnaby shivered. He looked at Delphi with scared eyes. He remembered the last storm, the one that took his ship. He whimpered softly. He was afraid. The gentle rocking of the raft turned into wild tossing.
Whimper.
Delphi chirped to reassure him. Stay strong, little friend, she seemed to say. I am here with you. But she was worried too. The waves were becoming very powerful. It was hard for her to control the raft. The wind howled like a hungry wolf. Rain began to fall. Cold, hard rain. It stung Barnaby's face. He clung tightly to his wooden raft. He closed his eyes. He wished the storm would go away. The ocean, which had been so friendly, now seemed angry. The waves rose like mountains. Then they crashed down with a roar.
Delphi fought bravely. She used all her strength. She tried to steer the raft away from the biggest waves. She kept looking at Barnaby, checking if he was okay. He was small and helpless, but he was her friend. She would not let anything happen to him. She had to be brave for both of them.
The storm raged around them. Thunder boomed in the sky. Lightning flashed, lighting up the dark, churning water. Barnaby was terrified. He yelped with each loud clap of thunder. He was so small against the fury of the storm.
Yelp, yelp.
But then he looked at Delphi. She was swimming hard, her sleek body cutting through the rough waves. She never gave up. She kept pushing his raft. She kept looking at him with determined eyes. Seeing Delphi's bravery gave Barnaby a little courage. He was just a small dog, but he could be brave too. He stopped whimpering. He held on tight. He even tried to bark at a big wave. a tiny defiant woof. It was his way of saying, I am not giving up either.
Woof.
Delphi heard his little bark. It made her heart feel stronger. They were in this together. They would face this storm together. Delphi used her knowledge of the ocean currents. She tried to find a calmer path. It was a long, hard fight. The waves tossed them around. The wind tried to pull them apart, but Delphi held firm. She kept the raft steady as best she could. Barnaby, though soaked and shivering, trusted her. He knew Delphi would do everything to keep him safe. He huddled down, trying to be as small as possible, bracing against the wind and rain. And slowly, very slowly, the storm began to lose its anger. The thunder grew fainter. The rain softened. A tiny patch of lighter sky appeared in the distance. Hope. S1. Media Group. Ocean waves with a gradual calm. Horizon with light breaking through clouds. Stormy sea with hope of sunshine at its stock. At it distribute _ equally. Hours passed. The storm seemed to go on forever. Delphi was getting tired. Her muscles ached, but she thought of her little friend. His trusting eyes, his brave little bark. She could not fail him. She pushed on, through the wind, through the rain, through the giant waves. As the storm clouds began to part, a weak ray of sunshine broke through. It touched the choppy water. It felt warm on Barnaby's wet fur. He opened his eyes. The worst of the storm was over. The waves were still big, but not as angry as before. Delphi was still there, swimming steadily. She looked tired, but she gave him a small, reassuring click. They had made it through. Barnaby lifted his head. He strained his eyes. In the distance, through the misty air, he saw it, a line of green and brown. It was land, land. After so many days on the water, the sight of land was like a miracle. Barnaby barked with all his might, a happy, joyful bark. Delphi pushed the raft faster now, towards the beautiful island. As they got closer, Barnaby could see sandy beaches, tall trees swaying in the gentle breeze. He could smell the sweet scent of flowers. It was the most wonderful sight in the world. He was going to be safe. He was going to be on solid ground again. He wagged his tail so hard his whole body wiggled. He licked Delphi's snout when she came close. Thank you, thank you. Delphi guided the raft right up to a quiet sandy cove. The water was calm here. Barnaby carefully hopped off the raft. His legs were a bit wobbly, but he was on land. He ran a few steps on the soft sand. Then he turned back to Delphi. She was watching him from the shallow water. Her eyes were kind, but also a little sad. It was time to say goodbye. Their adventure together was coming to an end. Barnaby looked at Delphi. His heart was full of happiness to be on land, but also full of sadness to leave his friend. He walked to the edge of the water. He nuzzled Delphi's smooth head.
Thank you, Delphi, he barked softly. Thank you for saving me. Thank you for being my friend.
Delphi made gentle clicking sounds.
I will miss you, little Barnaby, she seemed to say. Be safe now.
They stayed like that for a moment. The little dog and the kind dolphin, two friends from different worlds, brought together by a storm, bound by courage and kindness. Barnaby knew he would never forget Delphi. He would never forget their journey. He would never forget her bravery. He promised himself he would always remember her. He would tell everyone about the amazing dolphin who saved his life. Delphi watched as Barnaby explored the beach a little. Soon, some friendly people from a small village found him. They were kind. They gave him food and water. Barnaby was safe now. Delphi gave one last leap, a joyful farewell leap. Then she turned and swam back towards the deep blue ocean. Her home. Her heart was a little heavy, but also full of warmth. She had made a special friend.